Have you ever felt the earth shatter beneath your feet after a breakup? That's exactly how I felt. My name is Sophia, and today I want to share a story with you. It's not a story about grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. It's a story about silence, and how that silence became the most powerful statement I ever made. My world revolved around Michael. We were that couple, the one everyone thought was destined for a happily ever after. We talked about a future, a house, even names for our kids. I typed out long, desperate messages, begging him to reconsider, asking what I did wrong, pleading for just one more chance. But I never hit send. Something inside me, a tiny flicker of self-respect I didn't even know I had, held me back. My friends were amazing. They told me to block him, to delete his number, to burn his photos. They wanted me to scream, to rage, to show him how much he had hurt me. And believe me, a part of me wanted to do just that. I wanted him to see my tears, to feel a fraction of the agony I was drowning in. But I chose a different path. I chose silence. I didn't block him, but I muted him on everything. I didn't text him, I didn't call him, and I didn't respond when he sent the occasional, half-hearted, "hope you're okay" text. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a strategy to win him back. It was an act of survival. Every impulse screamed at me to reach out, to reconnect, to hear his voice. But I knew, deep down, that any contact would just be a dose of poison, prolonging the pain and giving him the validation he was probably seeking. The first few weeks were hell. Every morning I woke up with a hollow ache in my chest. I'd check my phone, almost hoping for a message from him, then feeling a strange mix of disappointment and relief when there was nothing. The silence I was giving him was deafening to me. It felt unnatural. It felt like I was letting him get away with it, like I was being passive. My mind played tricks on me, whispering that he had already moved on, that he was laughing with someone new, that my silence meant nothing to him. But then, something started to shift. Instead of pouring all my energy into the black hole that was Michael, I started, slowly and tentatively, to pour it back into myself. The hours I would have spent agonizing over his social media, I spent at the gym. I started running, not to escape my thoughts, but to feel strong in my own body. The raw, physical exhaustion was a welcome distraction from the emotional turmoil. I reconnected with friends I had unintentionally drifted from while I was in my little bubble with Michael. We went out for dinners, we took a weekend trip to the coast. We stayed up late talking and laughing about everything and nothing. I realized how much I had missed these connections, how much I had isolated myself in my relationship. I started reading again, devouring books that transported me to different worlds. I enrolled in a pottery class, something I'd always wanted to do. The feeling of clay spinning beneath my hands was incredibly therapeutic. I was creating something new, something that was entirely mine. My apartment, which once felt like a museum of our failed relationship, started to transform. I packed away his things, not in anger, but with a sense of closure. I rearranged the furniture, bought new plants, and hung up art that I loved. It started to feel like my space, a sanctuary that reflected who I was becoming, not who I used to be. I was building a new life, brick by painful, beautiful brick. About 2 months into my silence, the dynamic began to change. The occasional, "hope you're okay" texts from Michael became more frequent. "Thinking of you," one read. Then, a week later, I saw that new coffee shop opened, "reminded me of you." I felt a jolt each time, but I held my ground. I didn't reply. My silence was no longer just about my own healing, it had become a boundary. It was a clear, unspoken message: my world no longer stops and starts at your convenience. Then came the calls. The first time his name flashed on my screen, my heart leaped into my throat. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. He didn't leave a message. He called again the next day. And the day after that. Finally, he left a rambling voicemail. He said he missed me, that he thought about me all the time, that he made a huge mistake. He sounded confused, almost panicked. His voice lacked the confident, self-assured tone he had when he broke my heart. He started reaching out to our mutual friends, asking how I was, what I was doing. They, respecting my journey, gave him vague, polite answers. "She seems to be doing well," they'd say. This lack of information clearly drove him crazy. He was used to knowing everything about my life. My silence had created a void, and he couldn't handle not knowing what was happening inside it. He was no longer in control of the narrative. Through a friend, I heard he was surprised that I hadn't freaked out. He had apparently expected me to beg and plead. He expected drama. He expected me to be waiting by the phone for him. My silence had completely subverted his expectations. It showed him that my self-worth wasn't tied to his validation. I wasn't performing for him. I was genuinely moving on. The real turning point for me came one evening about 3 months after the breakup. I was at my pottery class, laughing with a new friend, my hands covered in clay. My phone buzzed in my bag, and I knew it was him. But for the first time, I felt nothing. No anxiety, no pain, no curiosity. Just a distant, quiet indifference. In that moment, I knew I was free. His actions no longer had power over my emotions. He eventually sent a long, multi-paragraph email, pouring his heart out, admitting his faults, and asking to see me. He said my silence had been the loudest thing he'd ever heard. He said it made him realize what he had truly lost, not just a girlfriend, but a person who had a full, vibrant life of her own. He said he'd made the biggest mistake of his life and that he loved me. I read the email, and I felt a sense of sad, quiet victory. Not because I had won, but because I had found my own strength. The best revenge wasn't making him suffer, it was me becoming so happy and whole on my own that his absence no longer mattered. His regret was a byproduct of my growth, not the goal of it. I did eventually reply to that email, a few weeks later. It was short, polite, and firm. I told him I appreciated his words and that I wished him well, but that I had moved on and was happy. I didn't offer friendship. I didn't open the door for more conversation. I closed it, gently but definitively. That silence wasn't a tactic. It was a sanctuary. It gave me the space to grieve, to heal, and to rebuild myself from the ground up. It taught me that my value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see my worth. The ultimate revenge is not screaming your pain to the world, but quietly building a life so beautiful and full that you forget you were ever broken. Your happiness, your peace, your growth, that is the most powerful response you can ever have. So if you're going through something similar, remember the power of your own peace. Focus on you. Reclaim your energy. Heal on your own timeline. The silence you create isn't empty, it's the fertile ground where your new, stronger self will grow. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please share your own experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on finding your strength and building a life you love. You've got this.